Previously on the Coco Nation.
Once he went to the higher resolution, I'm like, it's freezing up, and I'm like, oh, he's going into the disk basic variable area. Although, going into that mode would be nifty when you do disk I/O, so you could see
you watch the buffers go by.
Yes, you can watch all the variables and the disk data show up on the screen. That's always nifty to watch.
And that's like David Ladd nerd heaven right there, I think, being able to watch the distant buffers.
Yeah.
We here at Coco Town are all about making your dreams come true. So today we're going to take a look at the various disk buffers, those areas of memory, by pointing the VDG to them while we run the code that I've been showing the past couple videos. This code simply opens a text file, reads the bytes, and then prints them to the screen. But we're not going to see the printing because we're going to be busy looking at other areas. First, we're going to look at the area of RAM starting at 600 up to, but not including, 800 hex. And we can see what looks like a partial, or actually this might actually even be the full directory of the floppy in there. If I move on to the next file, a little bit of a flash. Next file, a little bit of a flash. Not much going on, not that interesting. So this area is responsible for the I/O buffers 0 and 1, which I guess weren't really triggered very much with my app. So we're going to move on to now the area from 800 up to, but not including, 800. And that seems to include a fair number of things. This should be interesting. All of this stuff. So we're starting here at hex 800. You can see the name of the file I'm reading in, and some stuff happened here. Let's move on to the next file for it to read. So we see a little bit of blinking here, and we see, it looks like a countdown, like a timer over here. Let's look at that again. Alright, so what are those? So I looked them up. You know, this kind of looks like some kind of timer countdown, and sure enough, we're seeing this ready timer. So I think this is what tells BASIC when to turn off the motor of floppy drive. And a few bytes before that, I think we're looking at the NMI flag, whether, you know, what to happen on a non-maskable interrupt. Don't be impressed that I know what that stands for, because that's almost all I know. I have no idea what this thing is used for, but it looks like that's the byte. If we look at that again, slowed down a bit, I think you can see some more interesting things happening. So you see this counts down. I've been slowly reading. This blinks again, and that counts down again. So what you saw is two reads from the disk. One for the first sector-sized buffer read, and then another for the final sector-sized buffer read. And it looks like that non-maskable interrupt thingy blinked, I guess, right before the read from disk or right after the read from disk. So let's do the second file. You should be able to see that happening again. Oh, yeah, there it is. And the next file. And next we're going to look at what happens in the memory starting at A00. This is where my file control block should be stored. So we should be seeing a buffer, and there it is. And we're seeing some things change. I think what we're seeing is there's, again, it takes two buffers full to read the whole file, and we've got some countdowns that say how many characters are left to be read from the buffer, and maybe there's another countdown for some other reason. Let's go to the next file. Here's the first buffer, and then the second buffer. Let's move on to the next file. You'll see that some of these letters are readable and some of them are not, and that's because, as I talked about in a previous video, the ASCII codes don't line up with the actual bytes you send to the VDG. So we're going directly to the VDG here, and so we're seeing some weird things. The capital letters are matching, but many of the other things aren't. Going to the next file. And there you have it. David Ladd Nerd Heaven.